This is Donald Trump's mugshot, as I'm sure pretty much everybody has seen at this point. Absolutely love it. Love it to death. From my understanding, he said jail was not pleasant. His supporters are going absolutely bananas. I don't know what else to call it. It's bananas. So I wanted to talk about how some of his supporters are reacting to this. Spoiler alert, it's not well. And it's deeply entertaining. So check this out. This is Stu Peters. So Stu Peters used to be a bounty hunter and eventually gave that up to be a talk show host. And he's actually extremely well-known, extremely influential. You may not have heard of him, but trust me, the far right has. He is significantly more influential than I am by like a mile. He's extremely influential. He had some things to say about Fani Willis, who is the person who indicted Trump in the first place. This is her right here on the right. Let's listen to what Stu Peters, Trump sycophant, had to say about Fani Willis. Mid-August 2023. Check this out.
This demands action, and it demands it right now.
Of course, Trump's arrest and indictment and all that other good stuff. Mugshotting, whatever.
So if you live in Georgia, here's what you demand. A special session of the Georgia legislature immediately.
Special session of the Georgia legislature. Okay, not sure what that'd do, but all right, I'm with you.
Defund the Fulton County DA's office and remove Fani Willis from power immediately. And if a judge tries to stop you, ignore them.
Oh, so just ignore the law. That's what he's saying. Ignore the law.
Ignore them.
Use the law to your advantage as far as it'll take you, and then ignore it the rest of the way. You know, the last time, well, to my knowledge, one of the most notable times a president ignored the Supreme Court was Andrew Jackson in the 1840s. The Supreme Court decided that Native Americans were men and could not be taken off their land like that, not by force like that. And Andrew Jackson said, okay, well, enforce it then. And then he committed the genocide that is known as the Trail of Tears, really. So anyways, that's the last time that happened. I guess Stu Peters is calling for that type of event again, seems to me, right? Since his God Emperor, as he calls him, Geodis, God Emperor of the United States, since Geodis has been arrested and mugshotted and everything, he's calling for, well, I guess a new Trail of Tears, right? Except instead of Native Americans, it's for the left. People to the left of hunting the homeless for sport, apparently.
In every other red state, here's what you demand.
Okay.
Cease all cooperation with the federal government on anything.
Okay. Hey, great. You know what? Red states want to secede? Give it a shot. See how that goes for you. The red states, or people like Stu Peters, seem to think that when they come out on the other side, they're the ones that are going to have the treaties with all of these countries. They're going to control the Federal Reserve, and they're going to control everything else, the currency and all that other stuff. No. I hate to break it to you, Stu, but blue states subsidize red states. Red states are broke as shit. The only reason Mississippi can continue to be morons in their legislature is because California is exporting more than small countries and sending money back to the federal government, which is then sent to the idiots at the legislature in Mississippi. So go ahead, Mississippi, be my guest. Secede. Quick interjection. I won't take long. I just wanted to tell you guys, YouTube's algorithm operates off of a few factors. Watch time, whether or not you subscribe, and whether or not you like something. So if you really want to help my channel, I would appreciate it if you guys watch the video to the end. If you don't watch it to the end, just watch a little bit longer than you would have otherwise. I would appreciate that very much. All right, let's get back to the video. In all seriousness, if they tried to secede, the federal government would send the military in to kick out everybody in the legislature and replace them with somebody that was not committing treason or not willing to commit treason. They'd hold new elections of people who had not committed treason, at least up to that point. That's how it would go, actually. Any red states try to secede, oh boy, I'm hoping that happens. Just, you know what? In retrospect, go ahead. Please. I am begging you. I would love to see that happen. So he says red states should just not cooperate with the federal government. Okay. Go nuts. Yes.
In every other red state, here's what you demand. Cease all cooperation with the federal government on anything. Immediately.
Okay. I'm so down. You have no idea how down I am to see this happen.
No cooperation on any law enforcement.
Wait, no cooperation on any law enforcement. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but okay.
No providing any requested federal data. Treat the Biden regime as, at best, an occupying power in a conquered land. Be defiant.
Well, if you did do that, you actually would be an occupied power in a conquered land. And trust me, you don't want that. You know all these people, all these right-wing nutcases who hoard guns and all that stuff are always talking about civil war and all of that, glorifying it like it would be the best thing since sliced bread to have a civil war. I would put money on the fact that the vast majority of the people who want that civil war have never actually been in a war before. People who were actually in a war, who were standing next to their friend when their friend's leg was blown off by a landmine. People who watched their best friend get shot right between the eyes, standing right next to them, shot right between the eyes and watched the light go out. Those people don't want a civil war because they know how horrific war is. You can tell that this Jagoff, that's Jagoff, YouTube, don't demonetize me. This Jagoff has never been in a war in his life. It has no idea what he's looking forward to right now. But, go ahead. Keep calling for it. I think it'll put people to the left of hunting the homeless for sport in a better position, ultimately. So go ahead, yes. I'm so down. God, I can't get past that mugshot. I love it to death, dude. Sadly, I think Trump supporters love it to death, too. So everybody seems to love this thing. Because it's like a symbol of power, like when Tupac was arrested. I'm not joking. That's what I've heard Trump supporters say. This is like when Tupac was arrested. Just painfully stupid. Painfully stupid. So anyways, I guess they view Trump being arrested and his mugshot as a symbol of power or some other nonsense. I'm just glad he's facing some accountability, honestly. Anyway, interestingly enough, Steve Bannon's been talking about this too, and he got this guy on the left here that's going to tell us about this evidence that he has that Trump was right all along, right? Okay, great. Hey, you've got evidence? That's what I need. Let's see it, right? All right, let's see what he has to show us. This is late August 2023.
In your mind, and do you believe you have the evidence you can show the American people that the election in Georgia was stolen, sir?
He says, yes. Okay, we've got the evidence. Fantastic. That's all I've been looking for this whole time. Just give me the evidence. And you suddenly got a believer like that. Really?
Yes. President Trump was right. Catherine spent, she's been...
By the way, people talking about the word Jagoff, Jagoff, I think it's a word that I picked up long before moving to New York City. But it's a kind of a New York City word, or it's a word that I've heard in New York City. You friggin' Jagoff, that kind of thing. I don't know. Okay. Sorry, let's keep listening here. Okay, so he says he's got the evidence.
Yes. President Trump was right. Catherine spent... she's been, most people don't know this about Catherine.
Okay, I don't know who Catherine is or why I should care, but all right, let him cook. I'm standing with him. He's about to give us the evidence.
But she's a perfectionist. And so as we're approaching all of our research and all of the things we do, Catherine, insists on, her mantra with us is, you can't be wrong. You can't.
Okay, so this guy apparently researches things, don't know what exactly, but... All right, I'm with you, and he has somebody behind him saying you can't be wrong. Okay, go on.
Be wrong. You can't be wrong.
I mean, he's going to show us the evidence at some point, right? We're going to see the evidence, aren't we? That's all I need. And so I assumed that at the end of this clip, we were all going to be Trump supporters. So I'm just, I'm sitting here waiting for the evidence. Any second, right? All right, let's keep listening. Maybe, we just haven't hit that part yet.
And with everything that's been going on for the last couple of years, we finally sat down after the Trump indictments here last week or so. Last Friday, we finally sat down for...
Okay, I don't know who we is. I'm assuming it's this guy, Greg Phillips, whoever that is, and this person, Catherine. Okay, Greg and Catherine sit down together. Go on.
3 days in a row and really built the timeline around this. And what we found was so shocking and so stunning. We announced parts of it on Catherine's show on...
Wow, sounds important. Again, all you need to do is show me, and I'm a believer. So is everybody in the chat. Just give me a little evidence.
Monday night. And we just wanted to get with you, Steve, and really walk you through the heart. When we say President Trump was right, what I'm saying is he had the courage and the discernment to understand that he shouldn't be listening to the Bill Barrs of the world, the Brad Raffenspergers of the world.
Okay. It's become clear to me that this guy doesn't have a lick of evidence. He just wants to talk about how great Trump is. Because he pivoted from explaining that he had evidence to show us into talking about how great Trump is.
The world and all of these folks. And he was listening to people. We look back at the transcripts of that call, and we see some specific...
Of what call exactly? Like, there were 16 different calls that Trump made that were questionable and may, be, one of them got him impeached. One of them has gotten him indicted. I mean, which call are we talking about? The impeachment one or the indictment one?
And we see some specific and absolute lies that were told to him.
So, okay, well, I guess that just means we're never getting the evidence. Okay, fantastic. Well, you had an opportunity, Steve Bannon and whoever the hell this Greg Phillips guy is, to turn thousands of people into Trump supporters. That is all I need is evidence. That's all any of us need, right? I'm willing to believe whatever it is, as long as we get some evidence. But isn't it weird to anybody else that evidence is never forthcoming? They are crying about the fact that their God Emperor, Geodis, God Emperor of the United States, got mugshotted for committing a crime, but for some reason they can't manage to turn up any evidence of his innocence. They can't turn up any evidence that the election really was stolen or anything. Now, Trump likes to, for the record, this was for... I believe this indictment was for trying to overturn the election specifically. Now, in the indictment, it says, I think page 1 or 2, it says, you are allowed to lie if you want and claim that you won. That is not against the law. You can use your freedom of speech to make any claims that you want about the election. But the moment you tell other people or you organize this effort to send fake slates of electors to show up to Congress to vote for Donald Trump instead of the actual electors, that's a conspiracy, and that crosses into criminal territory, and that's exactly what Trump did. So he's free to use his First Amendment right, his freedom of speech, up until that freedom of speech is used to instruct somebody to do a crime for him, which is what happened. Anyways, our old buddy Candace Taylor, I don't know if you know her. If you don't, you will in a second. She ran for governor of Georgia in the primaries and lost to a Republican. She's a Republican. She was in a Republican race, lost that Republican race, and of course claims that the Republicans cheated. Anyways, that's neither here nor there. She's got some things to say about Donald Trump's indictment. She is miffed, and she wants to express that to everybody around her. Okay, mid-August 2023. This is after Trump's indictment.
This is treason. This is a hijacking of our country. This is war. And I hope and pray it gets resolved before we use guns. I really do. I do not want to see bloodshed in America. But we're at war right now. A war for our freedom. Freedom of speech, which is trampled on in Georgia. We had that.
Okay, once again, that is completely psychotic, okay? Like I said, if you've been in a war and watched the light go out of your friend's eyes next to you, you'll do anything to avoid it. People who have actually seen war do not want it. They don't want it. They're horrified by the possibility that there might be war, especially war as ugly as another civil war. The Civil War was like brother against brother. It was horrific in its own right. I mean, World War II was bad. You think World War II was bad? Brother was pitted against brother in the Civil War. It was ugly. And this person who has certainly never been in a war in her entire life is encouraging mass bloodshed here and pretending that she's not. And what was that she said at the end there?
Our freedom of speech was just trampled on in Georgia.
No. Trump's freedom of speech is not trampled on. He is free to lie about winning the election to his heart's content. Like I said, he's allowed to say anything he wants about the election, up to the point that he's organizing a criminal conspiracy to steal the election. He can't use his speech to organize a criminal conspiracy, which is what he did. So, sorry, Candace. Not getting away with that one. Oh, boy. If you don't know who Candace Taylor is, just wait. Just wait.
We had that DA in Fulton County that just filed 19 people indictments. She had some of the indictments. People had 10 indictments. So.
Oh, yes, there were 19 people, okay? This is not the only mugshot we got our hands on. We got some really juicy ones. So as far as I can tell, I'm going to move around so you guys can see everybody. This is everybody involved in the conspiracy that was indicted or arrested or whatever in Fulton County, at least so far. I'm not sure if there will be more. Let's see, how many is this? 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. Wait, that's not exactly straight. So 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Yeah, okay, so it's 19, looks like. It's 19 people. I recognize a few faces. We've got Jenna Ellis right here. We've got Donald Trump right here. I think this is Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani. I could be wrong on some of these. Forgive me if I am. Sidney Powell. Let's see. I'm not sure who this guy is, but he's cheesing, so. I'm not sure who this guy is either. I'm not sure who a lot of these people are. Weird. This guy is at least pretending to be a pastor. Why does that not surprise me? Anyway, so those are the those are the indictments we got. I love it to death, dude. It's fantastic. Just fantastic. I'm just eating this up. So that's who old Candace Taylor is talking about, the indicted people.
She had some of the indictments. People had 10 indictments. So she just filed all these charges on electors, on President Trump, on his attorneys, on innocent people who... Oh,
they're not innocent. By no stretch of the imagination are these people innocent at all.
Are questioning with they have a right to question the validity of an election with as many issues as we had in 2020. We have all the evidence.
Isn't it weird that Candace Taylor here isn't in jail? Why isn't she being indicted? She's been one of the most vocal people about the election being stolen or whatever other nonsense. You know who else has been really, really vocal about the election being stolen? Kenneth Copeland. Kenneth Copeland was. George Peterson. He is Kenneth Copeland's son-in-law, married to his daughter. Or George Pearson's plural, apparently. His name ends with an S. Or does it? I'm not sure. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it is plural. It's not plural. It's just, it ends with an S. I mean, George Pearson's, Kenneth Copeland's son-in-law, Kenneth Copeland himself, Hank Kunneman, Gene Bailey. I mean, I could go down the list of televangelists who claimed that, this election was going to Trump and then claimed it was stolen, and they weren't wrong. They were correct all along after Trump lost, right?
This afternoon, I'm in the kitchen, and I'm fixing something to eat. Pastor Terry and I are talking about the election. And just a different...
Pastor Terry is Kenneth Copeland's daughter. Terry Copeland Pearson's.
Things that are happening, and for a moment I got quiet, and I heard the voice of the Lord. And do you know what he said?
Watch me work?
No, he said, I got this. Woo.
So God says, I've got this. I'm going to make this happen. Trump is going to be the president again. You just wait. And it's going to be before 2024. Just absurd, dude. These people live in a fantasy land, for real. So why isn't George Pearson's in jail? Why isn't Candace Taylor in jail? Why aren't all these other people in jail? Why is it that it's only these guys, these 19 right here, that were put in jail. You know why? Because they were part of a criminal conspiracy to commit election fraud. That's why. It's not about free speech. Everybody's free speech is still upheld and protected. It's about criminal conspiracy. Now, Candace Taylor here has made a point of using her free speech to show how much of a fool she is. And, honestly, how much of a gullible sucker she is, and claimed the election was stolen. But as far as anyone can tell, that's as far as it went for her. So she hasn't broken any laws because we have freedom of speech in this country.
As we had in 2020, we have all the evidence. But
no, we don't. We have zero evidence.
Nobody will hear it. And if something does not...
Well, tell me. You've got a captive audience right now. You've got thousands of people watching, Candace. Give me the evidence right now. This is your opportunity right here. I said the same thing earlier. Please give me the evidence and you'll have thousands of believers.
They have a right to question the validity of an election with as many issues as we had in 2020. We have all the evidence, but nobody will hear it. And if something does not give and the people do not take back control and get these crooked people out, we will be in a very bad war. We're at war now.
Again, calling out to war, proof that she's never been in a war before. People who have don't want it.
It's an information war.
It's an information war.
And I hope that it stays there and we get it resolved.
Just disgusting, dude. Candace Taylor is an absolutely terrible person. If you don't know who she is, this is her going on a Flat Earthers TV show late May 2023. Of course, she denied being a Flat Earther like a week later or something like that, but it doesn't get much clearer than that. She was endorsing them, okay? This is her show, and she brought the Flat Earthers on her set, okay? Lending them credibility, effectively.
More and more, I'm like, it doesn't make sense. So is it or not? I don't know 100%, but it's just, it doesn't make sense the other way. Now that you see it.
It doesn't make sense the other way? She's saying it doesn't make sense to have a globe? She's saying it must be flat because it just doesn't make sense to have a globe?
The people that defend the globe don't know anything about the globe because
I know they're globe heads. They're idiots, right? What a bunch of fools.
If they knew a tenth of what Matt and I know about the globe, they would be flat earthers because.
Oh, dude, I love it. I love it to death. Globe heads are idiots. If they knew as much as we knew, they'd be flat earthers. Okay.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
I can't unsee this. All the globes everywhere. I turn on TV. There's globes in the background. There's globes on there right here. Like this would be a globe if I was a normal person. Like,
well, at least she realizes she's not a normal person, right? So she's pointing out all the globes. Why? Why are there so many globes everywhere? Why? It's propaganda. I'm telling you, it's propaganda. Globehead propaganda by Big Airline and by Big Telescope and by Big NASA and by Big Satellite and by Big Everybody. They're all out to get us. Why?
everywhere there's globes. You see them all the time. I mean, it's constant. My children will be like, Mama, globe, 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 globe.
Oh, please don't tell me she's turned her kids into flat earthers.
They're everywhere. And that's what they do to brainwash. And so for me, if it is not a conspiracy, if it is, real, why are you pushing so hard? Everywhere I go, every store, you buy a globe. There's globes everywhere, every movie, every TV show, news media. Why?
Why? I love it, dude. I got to get that on a soundboard. Why? You know what else I got to get on a soundboard? I have a list of things I want to put on a soundboard when I get around to buying one. Anyway, that's for another episode. I'll tell you the other things I want to get on a soundboard. You know what? I'll show you one other thing I want to get on a soundboard. Okay, most of you guys who watch me probably know who Greg Locke is, especially since I've talked about him recently. Just listen to this clip from him. This is from 2021. It's from mid-September 2021.
I'm dumbing a box of rocks in a lot of areas.
That's what I want on my soundboard when I get one.
Facebook just makes people think I'm smart.
I might add that onto the end. Anyway, we're not here to talk about that. We're not here to talk about soundboards. So it's pretty clear that Candace Taylor is endorsing the flat Earth conspiracy, right? Well, just like what? So this is late May and then early June, like a couple weeks later, basically. She comes out here and says, oh, you guys are dumb. I never endorsed the flat earth conspiracy theory.
I've never said the earth was flat. I've never said that I was a flat earther. Never, ever, ever have I said that.
For the record, just to bring it back, do a circle here. Datu's defending these guys on screen here, these 19 fine-looking guys, gals, and non-binary pals on screen. Datu's defending them. Trump, Giuliani, Mark Meadows, Sidney Powell, and all these other people who actually committed conspiracy to commit election fraud, basically. So, class act you got in your corner there, Trump. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. These people are absurd on so many levels. I don't even know where to start with them.